Yeah, I want to talk today about something very unusual that's going on in my garden, and that is the fact that seeds aren't behaving normally. They're not growing past the first, second, and third year. There's a difference. So when I put seeds in the ground, they will germinate incredibly well year one, and year number two, it's less powerful. Every year is a little bit less and less effective. And I want to know if anyone else has experienced that. You buy a package of seeds, you put them in the ground, and they perform incredibly well year one. And year two, it gets a little bit less. Year three, even less. And year four, you sort of have to buy the seeds over again. So if anyone has any experience with that, I would be greatly appreciated to figure out what is actually going on. We're at very high altitude here. We're at 2,300 feet. So it might be an altitude issue. You bring seeds from ocean level or zero. You put them in a garden like this, and they don't do well because of the altitude. So I have that option that this problem with the seeds could also be the altitude issue, but I'm not sure about that. So it'd be good to find out what it is. So there is this real thought process that maybe the seed companies are doing something to the seeds that they need to be rebought again. There could be many, many different reasons why these seeds don't perform incredibly well after the first year. I'm not sure what it is. It is a bit annoying, and it is a bit, how do I put it? You feel cheated a little bit. I don't know if that's really the right way to put it, but the seed packages are like $10, $8, $4. And when you're paying that kind of money, you want something that you can actually regrow yourself. And that's very interesting. If I can buy seeds once and use forever, that's sort of the understanding I have with seeds. But I might be wrong. Maybe that's not how it works anymore. Maybe who controls the seeds is gaining lots of power in the world. So that's my understanding. If possibly this idea of the seeds being controlled is maybe it's a new thing. I don't know. Maybe there's technologies that can make the seeds behave the way the seed companies want them to be. Yeah, so I've taken on a very different attitude towards seeds. My real attitude is to get the seeds in the ground as quick as I can and have as many different seeds as I can as well, diversity. And it makes such a difference in the garden when you have all this life. I would say almost you could describe it as growing into each other or growing with each other. And it makes a big difference when you have so much diversity working together. When I'm planting seeds, a lot of times I will plant them in groups as well. Like I'll have 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 different seeds in one area. And that's helped me out a lot getting these seeds to actually do well in the garden. And you can afterwards you can separate them if you want to. So there's that option of actually coming in and separating your plant material in an order that you like. But this idea of getting them to germinate together really helps me out well because I have a higher germination rate. Altitude problem that I'm describing is very interesting to me because I have some hostas that I grew from seed, and they're this big after 2.5 years. Anyone who's grown hostas before knows that they take off very quickly. Having a problem here, or a different type of growing scenario where you have plants that are not native to high altitude or are not comfortable with high altitude, not doing so well. So it's very interesting how I kind of want to figure out why I have all these seeds that do really well and then they just stop doing well after a very short period of time. And it makes it very, very questionable if it's the seed companies doing it or if it's the seeds themselves behaving funny. Anyways, I'd like to get behind the story because it's actually affecting my garden a little bit. I would like to have more knowledge on how to prevent the seeds from behaving like that. There's one thing we do here on this property is we collect all the seeds we can, the seeds that have grown on the land, and they do much better if they had a couple of seasons here on the land. The native plants I'm not talking about seeds that are from different places. But it is a mysterious scenario where everything is growing well, and then all of a sudden it doesn't do so well. A bit of an exhaustion factor where the seeds might get exhausted or might not be comfortable with where they are. Yeah, so we always have a lot of different seeds on hand, and I kind of make notes on the value of the seeds. And what I mean by that, if I'm paying $10 for a pouch of seeds and it has 2 seeds in it or 3 seeds in it, I get a little bit irritated. You know, you get these seeds, they have a couple of seeds inside them. So, what I always do when I buy a package of seeds, I do this test. I said, how much volume do I get? It says on the package the volume somewhere, but I always grab this. This is chock full of seeds. This is a good value, probably $2 here in Ecuador. So for example, we collect our own seeds. This is, for example, bok choy, but it was a seed package from Ecuador, not from some other place. So I presume it's a lot more altitude resistant. So again, when you're buying seeds, you know, I just stay away from packages that have 2 or 3 seeds in them and they want $11 for it. And I don't really have the success that I would like with this because when you're starting with 3 seeds, your law of average is a lot less for it to do well. If you have 200 seeds, you're going to get, maybe 28 plants or 70 plants, whatever the number is. But with 3, there's not enough of a working together with the seeds even. So maybe the seeds are a bigger control factor in the world than we actually are realizing, that seeds are a big part of how the world is going to continue. And if you can turn into a bit of a seed maniac, let's describe it that way, where you basically really pay attention to harvesting the seeds, really paying attention to getting the seeds actually into the ground. I think there's so many gardeners, they have boxes full of seeds and they never get in the ground because it's not perfect enough, or it's not sunny enough, or it's not warm enough, whatever it may be. I find this idea of getting everything working in the garden, a better way of doing it is not waiting around for the seeds to get in the ground, and you'll do much better that way. So, if you take on this attitude, let's say you set yourself some rules in the garden. I want my ground to be completely covered with green matter. I want life on top of my soil. I don't want my soil exposed to the sun. I don't want any of these pressures on my garden. And I have tools for that. You got to remember, you have tools. I have a package of bok choy. I have a package of carrots. I have a package of beans. And I put them in a bare spot of ground, multiplied by all the bare spots in my garden. And all of a sudden, I've got all my earth covered by vegetation. What happens now is your seeds that have germinated are more comfortable because they're protecting their own root systems. The garden is more beautiful because you've got all this life going on. So it makes a really big difference when you have um, everything working in your favor. It makes such a difference in your garden when you're working in a way that you're letting nature do the job for you. The best tools are your seeds, and the seeds will provide you with food. They will provide you with energy in your garden. They will create all kinds of green manure for you. So, if you use seeds to your advantage, you're a better gardener and you're a better uh, person contributing to the environment in terms of protecting the soil eroding or burning out. So remember, the seeds that you buy or the seeds that you collect make such a difference in your garden when you're creating these really gorgeous living spaces where everything comes to live in your garden, everything comes to take part in your garden. It makes a big difference. Yeah, we have some animal nesting in here. It's brought all kinds of materials in here to lie in here. Could be a bear, could be a deer, could be whatever. We don't know. Tapir, possibly. But this is what I'm getting on about. So these seeds came from Russia, and it's rhubarb, and it's doing incredibly well here. We've had this plant. It came from Canada. We only got one plant to germinate. So we have this idea that they might not do well after 2, 3 years because of the altitude here or because of some other reason. I'm not sure what the reason might be, but we have many, many examples of this where the plants do well, really well, the seedlings, and then they don't do well. So it's very interesting how the local plants will outperform anything we bring into this garden. These nasturtiums are the best example for what I'm talking about, is how they don't do well after year 3 or year 2 or year 4. They're just basically hanging in there, and they're trying to flower, they're trying to germinate new seeds, and I'm wondering if it's a struggle for them. That's what it appears like when we bring seeds from different locations or buy different seeds from different locations. There seems to be this. I'll describe it like this. So we have these seeds. They are loaded with energy. They will be put into the ground. They'll start to grow, and what happens is they'll do well in year 1, a little bit less in year 2, year 3, year 4. So we can't get the seeds to acclimatize to this location, or the seeds aren't as viable, or they've been altered not to behave in such a way that they're flourishing. Like, I like to see plants and seeds flourishing continuously, not just 1 or 2 years. I want them to flourish forever. Yeah, it's really interesting for me, and the interesting part of this gardening effort is that when you're combining plants as groups or as installation of different seeds mixed together, and shade and higher plants and smaller plants, the moment you do that diversity in your garden, everything starts to grow very different. You'll find even that your seeds will germinate better when you're putting them in an area that is already populated by some plants. I know the rows and columns are so popular in gardening. I know that they are efficient in growing fruits and vegetables, but I find that people have so many fruits and vegetables at the end of the year that they could easily work more in a chaotic system where they're actually mixing plants together and growing many, many different diverse plant species together. And everything seems to taste better, look better, feel better, grow better, protect the earth better. There's all these benefits when you are working in this diverse method of having all your seeds working together and all your plants working as a collective.